So you guys know I've been using the P20 Pro, this device right here, this crazy 3-camera setup. I've been using it for a while now. Man, what, like 2 weeks maybe? It's the longest period of time that I've spent on any Huawei device as my exclusive daily driver smartphone. This video is all about me taking a bit of a deeper dive in a personal way. I said personal, Jack. You know, I had a lot of thoughts going into it, apprehension. It's just a little different than the type of evaluation you normally would get to do in a short form video here on YouTube. You get to learn it a little bit more, live with it. And that's why I kind of like this concept of switching over, trying as many phones as I possibly can. Since I'm wrapping up this video here talking about the P20 Pro, I'm gonna let you know all my thoughts, if it's a good purchase, how good is it, etc. A good way to manage these switch videos should be to ask you guys which smartphone you're most interested in, and then that can be the phone that I then go on to switch to and report back after a serious usage session, longer period of time. So leave a comment down below and let me know which phone you want me to switch to after this one, because I'm switching immediately. Anyhow, this video is about the P20 Pro. The form factor is super comfy. It's not quite as big as some of the other flagship devices, which I like. It makes it easy to hold and reach. It does have the notch on it. It was one of the early notch adopters, though you can turn that off. A unique thing on this device is this front fingerprint scanner. I think I have become so accustomed to the rear scanner that this actually felt a bit awkward for me. After using this for 3 weeks or however long it's been, I still think I feel more comfy with the rear one. Now, this is a personal taste kind of thing. My index finger lands there anyways. It's kind of a thoughtless process. It's automatic versus this one where it's just a little bit more of a reach. This is not a huge thing. It's not gonna be a deal breaker for someone. It's a minor little thing either way, but if I had to choose, I would choose the fingerprint scanner on the rear. Let's talk about the display since we're on the front. I have it currently in the eye comfort mode. I'm actually really impressed with this mode. The color and eye comfort stuff is just bananas. You can go in and really toggle in the color that you like, and that's a positive thing, especially since I made that video recently about how the blue light coming out of our smartphones might be affecting us. Since I have put a custom launcher on this device, the settings menu remains the one area that I had to adapt to. Of course, it's much different than on stock Android. Some things are buried in menus a little differently, and it will take some getting used to. I talked in a recent video about how much I like stock Android, but part of the reason for that is because I switch between phones so frequently. I don't really necessarily have the time to become super comfortable with all these variations in skins and so on. This will probably affect you less than me because you're switching phones, presumably, less frequently. These little nuances in the settings menu and so on, you'll get used to that. Battery life has been good. It never ran out on me at any point throughout the day. I can make it through a work day, no problem. Get home at night, charge it up, quick charge. The display is OLED, which for me, if you're spending this kind of money on a smartphone, it's really a must. The viewing angles are substantially better, as I've shown off. It's sort of in the same realm as what you'd expect in OLED from the other major manufacturers. One thing that I do miss from this device is the lack of wireless charging. This is not for everyone. Some people hate the fact that I'm constantly talking about wireless charging, like, Lou, it's not as fast. There are benefits and drawbacks. Yes, of course, we could have that argument forever, but I personally have a number of wireless charging accessories laid out around my house, and when I am using a phone that features wireless charging, I do take advantage of those. You just wish you had it. It's like a lot of features on a smartphone. You don't need it all the time, but when you do need it, it can be kind of nice to have it. This doesn't have wireless charging. Wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but I wouldn't mind if it was in there. Now, looking at the main page here, you can obviously tell this is not the stock launcher that comes with the device. This is Nova Launcher, and I pretty much put this on all my devices with the exception of Pixel products and so on, just to make it a little more streamlined, a little more familiar. This gives some cohesiveness to this experience. It feels interchangeable with some of the other ones that I've come from. I'm a big fan of Nova Launcher. I've told you that before. So anyway, if you're wondering why it looks different, that's what I'm using here. I also toggle back some of the animations to make it feel quicker. Nova's awesome. You already know that. Okay, another quick thing to mention, super fingerprinty. You can probably tell looking at that image there that Jack is picking up. This is something that exists on pretty much all glass-backed phones. It's kind of unfortunate that there's a limitation in materials available here. You want a premium material. You have to have the transmission of radio signals, which happen to do pretty well through glass. And supposedly you have to have this premium feel. Like you have to have all these pieces together, and you have only so many materials available to you. And this is why you're seeing this glass back on pretty much every flagship phone. For me, this drawback is too much. Like, that's just an ugly look. So I did have a case on it. This is actually a first-party case that Huawei makes, and it's even got a magnet in it for a car mount, which I never used. But look at this surface. No fingerprints. So you have a premium device. You don't want to show off too many fingerprints. As much as I don't necessarily like using a case, I had this on the whole time that I was using the phone in order to avoid the alternative, which was the fingerprint factory. You can see that does not happen there. So anyway, that's an observation. We all know what you want to talk about, and I do too, because it's really the elephant in the room right now in terms of this device. It's this guy right up here. It's the camera. Yeah. The camera on this thing is amazing. Honestly, it was so much fun to play with. It got the juices flowing a little bit because of the versatility of it. With the 3-lens setup and the crazy night mode, it was like, I wanna test this thing out. I got lost in the flow a little bit. Like, I wanna see what it's capable of, because at least in night mode, what this thing's capable of, it sort of feels like magic. Now, I knew that going into this Switch because I had played with it at the launch event. Hadn't used it myself over an extended period, but I had played with it at the launch event, and I was like, how is this thing doing this? The way it works in night mode is if you snap a photo, it will actually take some time to shoot, and it will take multiple exposures, and somehow, even if your hand is moving around, somehow it's able to merge this data together to give you some crazy results, even in near pitch black environments. Of all the phones that I've used that claim to be incredibly capable in low light and so on, this one is for real. Like, this night mode is something completely different. It's not like decent performance at a particular ISO. Because of this software, somehow how it's using the image data along with the shakiness, eliminating the shakiness of your hand to give you practically night vision. I do have a sample of that in here. This shot is in a pitch black bathroom, lights off, door closed, and just this candlelight. And the detail in the object here is incredible. You could be out at a nice candlelit dinner and you end up with an image that a smartphone has no business taking. I promise you, the night mode on this thing will blow your mind. You can really do something with this camera that, as far as my experience is, you can't do on other phones. Now, as a regular camera, just as a camera, the thing's ridiculous too. I'm gonna zoom in to this wasp nest. I shot this photo, okay? Check this out. I mean, I am up close and personal. The detail on these wasps, and look at how zoomed in I am. It doesn't break up. Now, you know you're dealing with a 40 megapixel sensor, but interestingly enough, even when I'm in the 10 megapixel mode, I'm still getting incredible images. So I'm not sure what kind of fancy business is going on, but if you don't need the full resolution and the giant file size, you can shoot in this 10 megapixel mode and still get ridiculous results. You can see here, because of the optical zoom, we can go from there to there and keep full resolution. Zoomed into a chess piece, look at that. From there to there, kablamo. How about this? The isolation of a water drop. What is this, a stock photo? No, I took that. I should license this. You should pay me. What is this, Getty Images? Getty, get on the phone. Whoa. The camera is the feature that can still pull you into the premium smartphone territory. It's the only feature that can compel you, or should compel you, to spend those extra dollars, because it's the only difference maker. Like, processors are pretty ubiquitous now. Displays are pretty close also. But at the premium level, it's like, which is the best camera and why? And I think you can make the argument that this is that camera. It might be on this phone right here. But the reason I think that I put this one on top is because of the versatility. It's really like having multiple cameras with you. It's doing something that other cameras aren't. Now, granted, you guys know I loved the Pixel 2 XL, and the software on that device for the bokeh effect, or the portrait isolation, is incredible. Google's software is bananas. I've said it before, I'll say it again, you already know that. But there's no night mode like this night mode. And that's a single lens device, so when you start talking about zoom, you gotta go take a nap as well. This camera is special like that. You feel like you're paying for something that you're getting. In this implementation right here, it seems that this setup they have going on is working, and it's giving you versatility that other smartphones can't. There is an actual tangible benefit to this unusual setup. Yes, it's expensive. It's in that premium range. And I've been talking more and more recently about how you don't have to go to that premium range. I have a funny feeling about which phone you guys are gonna suggest for my next Switch, and I think it's probably not gonna be in the premium range because you can get some crazy specs now for a fraction of the cost of this device. But if you were stuck in the premium segment and you're like, I just have to have the best, if that's you, you're probably gonna be satisfied with this phone. The one killer characteristic above all others is camera, and this camera made shooting smartphone photos fun again and interesting, and that's a totally different experience from anything I've had recently. The P20 Pro is a good choice. It's kind of my job to keep switching and breaking it down for you, and I intend on continuing to do that. I'm gonna remind you once again, I want you to leave a comment down below. Let me know which smartphone I should switch to next, and I'm gonna be back here real shortly because this SIM card has to go somewhere. I have a funny feeling I know what you guys are gonna pick, but put it in the comments. I'm about to switch again. P20 Pro. You'll be happy with it.